Well, let's get some reaction to all of this, including those words. Emma and Anushka are here. Emma, to you first. I mean, it sounds like Donald Trump is just digging in on the position that he left this astonishing day in. You sat down with President Zelenskyy just a few weeks ago. How serious has the damage been today from what you're hearing and in your assessment?
Well, I've spoken to people this evening in London, in Washington and in Kyiv, and there is great concern about the damage that's been done. One of the sources I spoke to in London said that they felt that what President Zelenskyy said tonight in the White House was unhelpful at best. The Americans seem to feel that perhaps there'd been a rush to a press conference that really shouldn't have taken place, that nobody was on the same page.
They're quite astonishing remarks, aren't they?
Absolutely. You know, they were not on the same page. They were going in and there was going to be trouble, and that should never have taken place in the first place. I think the really concerning thing is that nobody's backing down. And you heard Donald Trump there saying that, you know, President Zelenskyy can come back to the White House when he decides that, you know, he wants peace. Well, when I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, he very clearly wanted peace. Those comments from Donald Trump sound like, you know, a parent saying, well, you can come down from your bedroom when you've actually thought about what you've done and have repented. You know, there is no question that President Zelenskyy has feared this kind of fracture with the Americans. When I asked him about it, he visibly recoiled in his seat and sort of said, God forbid there's a breakdown in relations, because it is so serious for Ukraine. You know, this is absolutely existential for them. Even if you get to a point where America continues to supply with weaponry, the short term is a big issue. You know, the Ukrainian soldiers rely on Starlink. That's provided by Elon Musk. That is Donald Trump's big ally. They also rely on real-time intelligence for their attacks. That's provided by the Americans. If they lose that, even in the short term, that's going to be really very, very serious. And whilst there is big support from people I'm speaking to in Ukraine tonight about that position, there is also great fear about where this goes from here.
So there is potentially real-time impact here. Anushka, I mean, presumably Downing Street, after yesterday's, you know, all the lauded comments for Starmer's handling of Trump, there must have been utter horror at what was unfolding. What are you hearing?
Well, certainly shock. When I speak to people in Downing Street, it's clear that Keir Starmer has kind of been trying to dance to two tunes, and so far quite successfully. On the one hand, steadfast support from Ukraine. He disagreed with Donald Trump when he called Volodymyr Zelenskyy a dictator. We've had more military support, sanctions on Russia this week. On the other hand, buttering up Donald Trump. And the scenes you mentioned, many called them a bromance. Well, that bromance was meticulously planned. Downing Street spent weeks talking to people who knew Donald Trump best to try to decide what tone should he strike, what stature should he take into the Oval Office. So they'll be frustrated and, as you say, shocked by this, just like we were watching it, jaws open, so they were around the televisions in Downing Street as well, trying to decide how to deal with it. And I do think they've struck a slightly different tone than some of their European counterparts today. They had intense conversations before releasing a statement that he had spoken both to Donald Trump and to Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Yes, supporting Ukraine, but making clear that they still want to be talking to the US. And that is obviously quite hard. But we have a defence summit here on Sunday. Volodymyr Zelenskyy is coming to it, 18 other European leaders, and I think it will be a moment where Europe will very visibly wrap its arms around the Ukrainian president.
And just very briefly, Emma, and it's hard to overstate the pressure on diplomats behind the scene at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is a moment that they really need to try and get something for both sides. I mean, Donald Trump hasn't succeeded in what he wanted, which was a signature on that minerals deal. This evening, I'm hearing from Washington that they want President Zelenskyy to use his interview on Fox to apologise. I think that's very unlikely.
OK, both of you, thank you very much indeed for all of that. Thank you.